talking about the shofar and the regulations about shofar. It needs to be, the instrument itself needs to be a horn from a kosher animal. So members of the family Bovidae or Cervidae, which is the deer family. But it cannot come from a cow because of the golden calf. So we're just no cows with religious material. We'll just take that out entirely. And it doesn't need to, the animal doesn't need to have been slaughtered by a shochet or by a Jewish person. And the person who made the horn doesn't have to be Jewish. But it can't have anything added to it. You can't add a mouthpiece to it. You can't add silver decorations to it. If you do that, it's not kosher. But you can carve designs into it if you want, which is interesting. What I haven't been able to find any regulations about is the idea of having, usually the mouthpiece is made in the end of the horn. They cut off the horn and they make an indentation there and they drill it out through, because there's always a little hard part at the end. But this one was turned into this is a vuvuzela, basically. It was made in the African manner. So instead of cutting off the point, they made an embouchure in the side.
So my husband David is in South Africa, and he's been bringing us shofarot.
Which is, say, vuvuzelim.
Right. So he had this one commissioned. It's got all kinds of, I don't know if you can see that, animals carved into it, which is pretty cool, by some African artist.
And according to the rabbis, this is kosher.
Yes. This beautiful kudu, very, very long. I don't know if you can see that. This one, which we don't know what animal, some kind of antelope, maybe?
Yeah, it's not an eland. It's one of the African antelopes. And I think the American antelope the pronghorn is kosher, I think, but its horns would be awkward. Anyway, so that's a little talk on the rules of making a shofar. Now I'd like to read an excerpt from the Reconstructionist Machzor by Michael Strassfeld. Here's what he said. The blowing of the shofar is the only special biblical ritual for Rosh Hashanah. The symbolism of the shofar is not made explicit in the Torah. Whether it is meant to arouse our slumbering souls or as a clarion call to war against the worst part of our natures, the primitive sound of the shofar blast stirs something deep within us. There is a sense of expectation in the silence before the shofar sound, followed by unease, evoked by the various blasts. Part of its sense of mystery lies in the interplay of the silence, the piercing sound, and the hum of people praying. On its most basic level, the shofar can be seen to express what we cannot find the right words to say. The blasts are the wordless cries of the people of Israel. The shofar is the instrument that sends those cries of pain and longing hurtling across the vast distance toward the other. There are 3 shofar sounds: tikiyah, 1 blast, shvarim, 3 short blasts, and teruah, 9 staccato blasts. The Torah does not state explicitly how many shofar blasts are required, but the rabbis, based on a complicated exegesis of Leviticus 25:9 and 23:24 and Numbers 20 verse 1, derive the necessity to have 3 blasts of teruah preceded by and followed by tikiyah. The only question for the rabbis is what constitutes a teruah. One opinion is that it should sound like groaning, our shvarim sound. Another is that it should sound like sobbing, what we call teruah. And a third opinion is that it should sound like both together, our shvarim teruah. Therefore, we have the pattern of tikiyah, teruah, tikiyah, tikiyah, shvarim, tikiyah, tikiyah, shvarim, teruah, tikiyah, to cover all possibilities.
How many blasts are we doing today?
Oh, I don't know. More.
Diane's not here.
Diane's
so you
not
have
here.
The instructions here.
Since
Diane is doing Giro in our contrada in Italy today. So that means they go around. They go around the town, and they
Waving
wave
flags and playing
play
drums.
So she
Wearing
can't be
medieval
here today.
costumes.
Yeah, in the heat. Okay, so we're gonna do this set and this set, both
Should we do all? Well, what we've been doing,
this and this.
and this. Should we do all three? Or let's
just do one line.
Yeah, do the first line.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, who's gonna,
And sitting this way, I'm right in your here.
I'll stand.
Okay, I'll sit. Find my embouchure. I also want to point out that this is perhaps the first musical instrument beside the drum that humans invented. That the Hotzatzra, the trumpet that's supposed to be used in the temple, very complicated device made of silver, and as you have to mine the ore and beat the metal and all these. This is just, especially for people who are herds people. Oh, here's a horn now. It's so ancient. It's so fundamental, and I love that about it. I don't know. I'll call the first set, and you call the second set.
Okay.
Tikia, Shvarim Trua, Tikia, Tikia, where are we? Shvarim Trua. Tikia, Tikia, Shvarim Trua, Tikia,
Tikia, Shvarim, Tikia, Tikia, Shvarim, Tikia, Tikia, Shvarim,
Tikia, Trua, Tikia.
Okay.
Okay.
Wake up, everybody.
Wake up, lips.